Oh, shit. Wrong screen. not the not the start that we wanted really there, guys, is it? Right. There we go. Okay, we're good now. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my streams. Obviously it's the start of the storm, really, now. We are in a trade. We're gonna walk through that, in a second. What I would really want to focus on, I really want to place your attention on something else, but first of all, we'll just, let everyone join up, as we always do. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone's had a good day. What's good, Mark? How you doing? I hope everyone's had a good weekend. As you know, I was not live on Tuesday. I was not live on Monday either. That is just simply what it is. We're back now. We're back to the streams. And there's been a lot shaking up the markets recently. We've got a lot to cover this week, fundamentally. We've got a lot to cover in the next few weeks, fundamentally. There is a lot to go through. We're just going to make sure everyone's here, wants to be here. And also, what I can actually do now is get rid of this sub goal. We have actually reached the sub goal. We have achieved 3,000 subscribers. Nice little goal there. It was very, very nice to see. As you know, I was on 7 subscribers, 7 individual subscribers about 10 months ago, 8 months ago. Now we are on 3,000. I just want to, say thank you for that. It's a great community that we're building, and we've got a lot further to go. Let me just sub goal. We're going to put a new sub goal up now. We're going for the big boy 4K subs. We're on about 3,012, I think, something like that, maybe. And we're going to aim to do that by the end of the year. So by, what would it be? The 1st January 2025. Looking to hit 4K. Just setting that goal up now. There we are. So, if we just drag this up here, got a nice sub goal there. Nice to see. So, guys, fundamentally, right, now that that's out the way, good afternoon, Hasbullah, how you doing? So there's obviously the election coming up on the 12th, which we need to be careful for. There's Bank of Japan policy rates, there's Bank of Japan elections, there's rate cuts, or there's finance announcements today for UK about an hour ago or something like that. So it's all pretty much up in the air. It's all up. Everything's going on this week. Everything's going on the next couple of weeks. This November is probably going to be one of the hardest Novembers to trade. And Novembers are hard in general because, as you know, the volume starts to die down towards Christmas. Then for the new year, January starts to die down again. And then starts to pick up for February. But November, we got the election, November 5th. And what's going on with this is what I think, this is my analysis. And the best way to show this is with Bitcoin. I think we were looking at a trade on Bitcoin, but it hasn't seemed to have played out. We were waiting for that candlestick pattern. So what I think's going on Bitcoin is basically we're factoring in, this leads into the fundamentals that I want to talk about, but we're factoring in a Trump victory. Okay, that's what we're doing. Now, you should know that because Kamala Harris is quite against crypto. She's quite for regulation in terms of crypto, in terms of pretty much everything. She's quite for regulation. So if crypto was going to be getting regulated, what do you think is going to be happening? Do you think it's going to be going down, or do you think it's going to be going up? Obviously, it's going to be going down. It'll be like some form of distress fall. You know what I mean? So if Kamala was to win, she's for regulations. So crypto would crash. Crypto would crash when she wins. That's what's going on. Now, if Trump, Trump's for freedom, Trump's crypto, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, you might have seen all that stuff. How you doing, bro? But yeah, so she's for crypto. Do I use Silver Bullet? Kind of. It's basically the same thing as what I do use. It's just a different name. But what I want to talk about is crypto. So, Trump. Everyone sees Trump. Freedom, crypto, Elon, all that stuff. Freedom, X. It's all kind of in favor of crypto. which is obviously a given, considering Dogecoin, stuff like that. But what we're thinking is, my analysis is that if Trump was to win, we would basically have a relief rally. We would basically continue up. And I really want to focus. I want this to be the highlight of the stream, guys, because we've got to start keeping our eyes on this. We're basically going to be having a relief rally for Donald Trump, and it'll be like, yay, Kamala didn't win, get in, and also, yay, Trump won, so get in. We're going to buy crypto. It's like a celebration kind of thing. But we know that Trump is for crypto, which means that regardless of the relief, regardless of how people feel, it will go up anyway, because it's not going to be regulated. It's not going to do any of that stuff. It's going to be itself. So then applying that knowledge, hey Rodrigo, how you doing, to the crypto at the moment, over the weekend, over Monday, Tuesday, we just pushed up, and up, and up. And that is because we're factoring in a Trump victory. Now, that's because over the weekend, over the last week or so, Trump's been going on a podcast spree. He's been doing all these numbers. He's doing really well in comparison to Kamala, who's been getting booed for Beyonce concerts, who's been doing this, and the other. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And a lot of people are starting to factor in a Trump victory. That's what's going on. So now that we know that, now that I've got that out the way, we can discuss what I actually think is going to happen towards the election. So first of all, we're going to be all over the place. I don't know why that whistled. Every single bit of news that is in favor of Kamala, which is a big victory. Let's say she sells out this massive arena, or she gets the endorsement of some random other massive celebrity, then that's going to affect the markets. Every single Trump victory, every single mini victory for Trump is going to affect the markets, and they'll affect them in their own way. As I've just described, crypto will pretty much be going down if Kamala wins. If Trump wins, it will be going up in celebration. That's what's happening. That's what I think's happening. So leading up to November 5th, if you didn't know when the election was, it is November 5th. Keep that in your diaries. It's going to be a crucial day. I don't think I'm going to be trading at all then, to be honest with you, that week. It's going to just be a mess. So there's that's going on with the election. It's going to be very sloppy, very messy. It's going to be the first time a few of us are trading an election. It's the first time I'm trading an election. It's going to be the first time for a lot of people. So what I want you to do is obviously make notes, see what price is doing, keep an eye on price a month ago, keep an eye on a price now, see what it does, see why it's being affected, how it's being affected, what's going on, all that stuff. Just learn as much as you can. But fundamentally, we've got the Bank of Japan election, which was a massive shock over the weekend, which obviously pushed the yen up, or the yen itself down, but GBP JPY pairs went up. Or JPY pairs went up. We've got Bank of Japan policy rates tomorrow. We've got the election on the 5th. So I think, it's going to be very difficult markets we're going to be heading into. It's going to be very hard to trade. It's going to be very hard to do near enough anything without losing money. So be extra cautious. If you haven't already, get a plan written out, exactly your trade style. Like for me, it's look for the manipulation, look for it to manipulate into a fair value gap, look for that candlestick pattern, then look for that entry. I have that written out. You need to do the same thing. Now we're going to get into the analysis. Now we're going to get into the live stream. We're going to get into the technicals now. But what I wanted to cover there was basically be careful of the election. Be very, very careful. Let's see what's going on closer to the date fundamentally as well. It's it's not JPY bank holiday. But we have the election all day on the 5th of November. Be very, very, very careful, especially on the 4th. What I would say is the end of this week, just kind of don't trade until after the election. That's my advice. That's what I'm going to be doing. We've got NFP on Friday, then we've got the election on Tuesday, then on Wednesday, then on second week. Okay, it's the week after, it doesn't matter. I was talking about CPI, but we do have the election on the 5th. We have JPY, massive news. We have Tomorrow we have a Bank of Japan policy rates tentative, probably going to come out around about 4:30. That's the time they usually go for. So there's a lot to be careful of now coming into November, leading up to around about the second week. There's a lot to be there, so be very, very careful, guys. That's all I want to say. That's basically the fundamentals covered. Long term. Now, short term fundamentals, all we've had to worry about today was the AUD news at 12:30, European prelim, 9 a.m. news, 12:30, the 12 o'clock, standard stuff, and then the 8:15 speech as well. If you want to track a speech, you know where to go, Financial Juice, and they will give you the highlights. But yeah, it's fundamentally there's a lot. It's about to kick off. It's about to, it's going up. And I don't mean stocks. I mean it's going to be very stressful to trade. Now, what's going on here? So the JPY trade. What I'm looking at here is a higher time frame AMD cycle, pretty much. Now, with this, I wanted to see. Actually, we'll start from the beginning. Beginning of this week, what's happened? So, basically, we had the election throughout the week, which has caused this gap up. Throughout the weekend, we had the JPY election, JPY, and it was a complete shock. It's the worst result the leading party have had in years. Think of it like this, right? It's literally the same thing. Like in England, if you're in England, it's like the Tories losing. It's like I honestly don't know the difference. I need to look at the Democrats and Republicans. I don't actually know the name, but it's the Blues. You know what I mean? Kamala Harris, her party. I think it's Democrats. I don't know. But it's like Labour winning the election in England. It's like Trump winning the election in America. It's like unorthodox almost, because the leading party's lost, basically. That's what's happened in Japan. In British terms, Labour have won the election in Japan. Think of it like that, okay? That's the best way I can describe it. Which gives kind of a relief. Like, we get a little bit of a relief up on the JPY pairs. That's because we are now selling against, we basically sold against the yen, so we pushed the price up again. It's kind of like that, and that's because I think we're looking at the guy in charge before the election was looking at raising interest rates. You know how JPY works. You know exactly how it works. We sell against the yen in difficult times because they do not raise the interest rates. When they start looking at raising the interest rates, people are like, okay, we're going to get out here. Drives the price down. But then the guy that was looking at raising the interest rates is basically no longer there, or is no longer in charge as well as he was, which pushes the price back up because we're not going to be raising the interest rates anymore. That's kind of what's going on there. That's kind of like a longer term thing. We'll have to see how that plays out. But that's why we had this gap up. It was 1, a celebration, and 2, the acknowledgement of that thing. So we've had a massive gap up here, and you should know this. We have to fill the gap. We have to fill this gap. We've still got a bit to go. So we've got to come down and fill that at some point. After doing that, we then had an accumulation here, which I said to be careful of. I said, wait for a clear entry on the low time frame. Wait for that first AMD cycle to play out. On the 4 hour, it doesn't necessarily matter because it's a higher time frame, but on the 1 hour, you can see we've had a pretty messy AMD cycle there. But if we go back to the 4 hour time frame, we've got to come and fill this gap, right? That's step number 1. Got to fill this gap. We then accumulate, then we manipulate up, taking out this daily liquidity here. Now, I expected price to come up to this 4 hour fair value gap, but we just came into the daily. We came into the daily fair value gap. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. We're inside the daily. We took that liquidity. Now we're getting a move to the downside. That's what's going on here, yeah? Now, on the 4 hour time frame, that is an accumulation, manipulation up into a higher time frame fair value gap, higher time frame being the daily, forming that candlestick pattern almost, but it was a bit of a sloppy entry. I left it. The only thing was we didn't really have a fair value gap as much as I'd like, so I waited for this price, this fair value gap to be inverted, and then price respect it. So what's happened is we've had the gap up, which we need to come down and fill, bearish confluence number 1. We've had an accumulation manipulation to the upside, bearish confluence number 2. we've took external liquidity, bearish confluence number 3. We've come into a fair value gap on a higher time frame, which is bearish, and we've respected it, bearish confluence number 4. Then we've formed a bullish fair value gap here, which we've inverted, then respected that inversion, as you can see now, bearish confluence number 5. We've got a lot of bearish confluences here, plus this gap is probably one of the strongest. So we've got to come and fill that gap. That's what I'm saying. Also, like the stream, guys. If you enjoy the analysis, like the stream. I'm live every single day at 2:30 p.m. BST or 1:30 p.m. BST for New York session every single day on my YouTube channel, on the same channel. Subscribe, like, all that stuff. So we've got 5 bearish confluences here, yeah? Now what do we need to do? We need to look at targets. So this is the target number 1, the other side of the accumulation range. Confluence number 2, or target number 2, sorry, is when we close this gap. When we've closed that gap, we're losing a confluence there. So then we'll go down to 3 confluences as to why we should continue. And then we obviously have this external liquidity over here. Previous low, looking to take that out. Simple stuff there, guys. Now, long term, it may be bullish. We'll have to see how it goes. But short term, this is definitely a move that can happen. We've got to come and fill this gap at some point. And now it looks like the best time to do that. I may adjust my stops and put it up here. If I do that, I'll have to close half the trade because I'm not being an idiot with risk and stuff like that. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how price reacts to it. And that's basically the trade. Like, that's the 4-hour time frame. A bit of a high time frame trade again, I know, but it looks perfect. So I took that entry there. It's perfect stuff, guys. It's, you know, it doesn't really get much easier than that. We just kind of got to let price play out. The only thing we didn't really have is that candlestick pattern. So if we lose, we understand why. But we can afford this. It's great. We'll see how this goes. All the markets are red at the moment. But yeah, that's the JPY trade, GBP JPY trade. There's not much else to that. We've covered the fundamentals. What we're going to do now is look at Bitcoin very quickly. Then we'll look at gold, as we always do. Bitcoin, we were looking at a trade if we go to the 1-hour time frame. We were looking at a manipulation here. The only thing was there wasn't much of a fair value gap here. Like, what I like to see is price coming down or coming up straight into a fair value gap with the context, then move to the upside. It's like an explosive reaction. That's what I like to see. I don't like to see a consolidation inside a fair value gap, then manipulate whilst also being inside the fair value gap, then move up. That doesn't necessarily happen. What I like to trade is very quick, explosive price action, and that comes from a very quick move up into a fair value gap, and then basically a very quick move back down, very quickly form that candlestick pattern, no messing around, then we move to the downside, then we move to the upside for the distribution move, whatever it may be. But that's how I like to trade. So applying that knowledge, now that I've said that, you can look at this and see basically we've had this accumulation here, but it's been inside pretty much of a fair value gap. We haven't basically got that breakout coming straight into an unfilled imbalance. That's what we like to see. We like to see price coming into an unfilled imbalance, preferably forming a candlestick pattern, then moving in its way. We didn't get that here. We kind of got the accumulation inside the imbalance. So we've basically filled the imbalance, then accumulated, and then manipulated. So it's like, no. If we had a fair value gap down here, let's say, that would be a nice sign. You know what I'm talking about? If we had a fair value gap right here, we would look for price to start respecting it, and it would be a very explosive move because we've come straight down to the fair value gap, then straight back up, and, you know, so on. So if we're going to apply that to this trade idea, what we need to do is look at this fair value gap right here. So we've got that fair value gap. We've also got, you know, IRL here, I guess. So if we come down and take that, we've taken out IRL already with the fair value gap, and then we're also taking out this here. So then we come up and basically do that. That's basically it. That's what we'd want to see on Bitcoin. Why is that? I've just told you. Now, if we get into the trade, we take the buy around about here with the candlestick pattern. We can target up here, this liquidity up here, which I thought we were going to take, but now we can look at targeting it. So we look at targeting it. We look at our management spots, which are obviously the other side of the accumulation range, this high here, and then full TP here. Now, if we come down and form a fair value gap right whilst making this move down to this one, then we can look at managing there as well. Maybe potentially go and break even if we invert that. But that's what's going on there as well. GBP, JPY doing its thing. Bitcoin doing its thing. Gold doing its thing as well. What's going on gold? Gold's been extremely messy. We've reached all-time highs. The best thing I can advise here is just stay away. We've got a clear higher time frame accumulation right here. We've got manipulation to the upside. Higher time frame. We've got this candlestick pattern here after manipulating. The only thing we don't have is a fair value gap, and that's because we took all-time highs. So it doesn't follow my plan, so we're not going to take this trade. Now, you can if you want to, but it doesn't follow my plan. So, you know, that's pretty much it. So, we've got everything except the fair value gap there, guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, you know, fundamentally, you've got to be careful of the election. Very careful of that. JPY Bank, Bank of Japan policy rate tomorrow. You know, we got a few stuff to take care of. But that's pretty much it, guys. Like, I haven't really got much else to cover today. Like, we've gone over the trade that I'm in. We've gone over the trade idea for Bitcoin, gold as well. There's not really much else to cover anymore. So yeah, I think that's it. We're gonna let this trade play out. If you want to catch this trade, join the free Discord server. That's where we talk about the trades. That's where we discuss trade ideas. It's a really nice place. Warming community. Very helpful. And yeah, there's a free course inside there if you want to learn that. I'm live every single day at the same time I was live today. 1:30 p.m. BST, 9:30 EST, the New York Open stream. It's literally as simple as that. That's the strategy. That's the plan. That's the trade. We're in the trade. Just got to let it play out now. This is the target. If you want to see where I'm managing, join the Discord. Bitcoin, same scenario. Just got to wait for price to come down to that fair value gap before we can look at taking any buys. Gold, bit messy. But that's it, guys. Like, I know it's a very short stream today. I'm not too sure why. But I've done everything I need to do. There's no point sitting around wasting our time here. We've gone, you know, we've looked at the stream. Oh, sorry, we looked at the stream. We've looked at the price. We've seen what's going on there. We looked at the trade. We looked at Bitcoin. We looked at GJ. We looked at everything. So that's it. If you like the stream, don't forget to like. Does really help me out. Subscribe. I'm live every single day, same time. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in tomorrow's stream. Take care. Have a good rest of your day. And if you want to catch the analysis, if you want to share your analysis, join